Good morning friends, I welcome you all for another lecture on the course Microprocessors and Microcontrollers. In the last class, we have started timer/counter operation in 8051 microcontroller. In that, we already discussed the control logic circuitry, timer control register TCON, and timer mode selection register T1. In today's class, I would like to focusing on different timer operating modes. We know that the timers which are present in 8051 microcontroller, those can be act as a timer as well as counter. Each one size is a 16-bit. Those are T0 and T1. And for internal operations of 8051 microcontroller, that a T1 or a T0 is act as timers. At the time, those timer circuits will get the clock pulses from internal oscillator circuit. The same circuits are act as event counters for external operations. That a time those circuits get the clock signals from external devices with the help of port 3 signals T0 and T1. In order to start an operation of a timer, that means a timer starts a counting of input clock pulses only when that corresponding timer run bit must be set to 1. That the timer run bits are present in the timer control register TCON. Once the timer reaches to maximum count, the time it receives one more clock pulse, then what happens is the content of that corresponding timer rolls off from maximum value to minimum value. That a time the timer will generate a overflow interrupt. Those overflow interrupt related flags and timer run bits both are present in timer control register TCON. We know this. And timer control register TCON is an 8-bit register. Out of that 8-bit register, the most significant 4 bits, that means the upper nibble of TCON register is only used for timer operations. Lower nibble of that the same TCON register is related to the interrupts. So that we are discussing in a last class. The bit format of TCON register, for what cases the bits are set to 1 and what cases those are become 0, and what are the control bits and what are the status bits. Those things we discussed in last class. After that we discussed about a timer mode selection register T1. The timer mode selection register especially useful for us selection of mode of operation of our timer. In 8051 microcontroller, there are 2 timer/counter circuits T0 and T1. For selection of these timers operation, we took the help of a TMOD register, so that the TMOD register is split into 2 nibbles. The least significant nibble, that is a bit D0 to D3, will useful for timer 0 operation. The most significant nibble is useful for timer 1 operation. That means the timers which are present in our 8051, both are operate independently. That means the operation of T0 is not depends on T1 or vice versa. We can go and use a T0 and T1 independently. So these timers only supports upcounting. We know that. In today's class, I would like to discuss about timers modes of operation in 8051 microcontroller. For my entire class, I was considering timer T1 for the modes of operation. The same thing is applicable for timer 0 also. Okay, so in timer mode selection register, we took the help of a bits N1 and N0. Those two bits are used to decide the mode of operation of the timer. N1 and N0 two bits, automatically we are getting a 4 different combinations. Each combination is used to represent one mode of operation. If both bits are 0, 0, that is indicates mode 0 operation. If it is 0, 1, that indicates mode 1 operation. If it is 1, 0, that indicates mode 2 operation. And 1, 1, that indicates mode 3 operation. I start my discussion with mode 0 operation of a timer. See here friends, mode 0. Mode 0 operation we can also call as 13-bit timer / counter mode of operation. That means in a mode 0, your timer we are not considering whole 16 bits. Out of 16 bits we are only using 13 bits. We are not using 3 more bits of this timers. So mode 0 we can call 13-bit timer / counter mode of operation. So if you are coming to this friends, this is my timer 1. I am already told you, for explanation of these modes of operation I consider timer 1. The same thing I can go and apply for timer 0 also. And coming to this portion of this particular diagram indicates control logic circuit. We know this. This is control logic circuit. In the last class we are already discussing about this. So this is a bit which is a counter / timer bar signal. Again it is a part of your TMOD register. For our convenience, once again I can go and draw TMOD register. So TMOD is a byte addressable register. We know that, which is an 8-bit register. So that is this is my least significant nibble. This is the nibble is dedicating for timer 0, and this is the upper nibble. This upper nibble is dedicated to timer. What are the bits we find here? The same bits exist here also, but these bits are related to timer 0 and these bits are related to timer 1. So in this, the least two significant bits are N1 and N0. 0, 1, 2 and 3. So for lower nibble, least significant 2 bits N1 and N0. These are two are the most selection bits for timer 0. The same bits also present at a least significant 2 bits of upper nibble, that is bit 4, 5 are nothing but again M1 and M0. And the next bit here is C/T1. This is the bit which decides this T0 is act as a counter or it is act as timer. If this bit is value 1, no doubt my T0 is act as a counter. If this bit is equal to 0, this T0 is act as a timer. The same thing was present here also. This is my C/T1. This is the bit which decides T1 operation. It is act as a timer or it is act as counter. And coming to the most significant bit, which is always a gate bit. So most significant bit is always gate bit. So see here, that is a gate bit. So in the last class, we are discussing about entire operation of this control logic circuit. See here friends, once this switch was closed, this is the second switch. This switch is controlled by an AND gate. So once this switch was closed, the clock pulse which is coming from either oscillator circuit or from an external device received by the timer stages. This is your timer T1 stage. It receives the clock signal once this second switch was closed. When this second switch closes, the AND gate produces logic 1. When AND gate produces logic 1, both the inputs of AND gate must be 1. So here my timer is a T1 to start a counting of input clock pulses only when it's a timer run bit TR1 is set to 1. it was present in timer control register TCON. We know that. So if this bit is always set to 1, then only your timer starts counting of the input clock pulses. In order to close this switch, this AND gate must receive second input also 1. But the second input is depends on another gate. So this is not an AND gate, sorry friends. This was an OR gate. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry friends, this is not an AND gate. This is absolutely an OR gate. So this is OR gate. So if it is an OR gate will produce logic 1. When it was produces logic 1, either of these 2 inputs are 1 or both inputs are 1. Once these 2 inputs of OR gate is equal to 0, then output of OR gate equal to 0. Then AND gate also automatically produces logic 0 the time our switch was open. So now the OR gate produces logic 1. Either of these 2 inputs are 1 or both inputs are 1. See here friends, one input for this one is INT 1 bar. So this is the signal which is useful for us to receive an interrupt from an external devices. So again it is a signal of the present in our port 3. So your controller identifies and receive an interrupt from an external device only when it will identify logic 0 over this. If it is receives any interrupt over INT 1 bar, the time for this OR gate input is 0. Then the OR gate output is now purely depends on the second input. What is the second input? The second input is nothing but gate. So gate is nothing but a most significant bit of your upper nibbles of your TMOD register. So timer 1, so most significant bit is this is a bit 7, which is a gate. If it is a 0, then output of NOT gate becomes 1. Then this OR gate will produce logic 1. Then AND gate produces logic 1. Then the switch was closed. This is the mechanism we are using to close the second switch to reach the clock pulses to the input of timer stages. And another thing is one more switch is present here. This is the switch is controlled by a bit called C/T bar. That is this. This is our timer 1 related circuits. So that here the bit is this C/T bar. So now if I use this T1 as a timer, this switch is connected to this. That means this bit must be set to 0. So once this switch is connected to this timer 1 is act as timer itself, because this timer 1 get the clock signals from internal oscillator circuit. And once this C/T bar becomes 1, your T1 is act as an event counter. The time your switch is connected to this, then your T1 stage will get the clock signals from an external world through the pin T1. Again it is port 3 signals. Right. So this is a control logic circuitry we have already discussed. So coming to mode 0, it is what we can call is 13-bit timer/counter operation. Actually the total size of your timer is 16-bit. But here we are not using all the 16 bits. We are only using 13 bits. So in the 13 bits, least significant register of your timer T1, which is a TL1. In that I was using just only 5 bits. I was using only 5 bits. And most significant bit of timer 1 is TH1. There I was using all 8 bits. Now see here friends, generally this is appear like this. This is now your TL1 and later you have TH1. So this is the clock pulse we are receiving either from an oscillator circuit or from an external world. Now initially that was received by TL1. So here I was using 5 bits, means it starts its counting from 00H. It starts its counting from 00H. If I using a 5 bits, in the sense the number of combinations I was able to get is 2 power 5, which is equal to 32. That means this TL1 totally it will counts only 32 clock pulses. After 32 clock pulses, it receives one more clock pulse. What happens is the content of this TL1 becomes 0. Then the clock pulse is applied to TH1. Initially TH1 is loaded with 00H. Once it receives the clock pulse after TL1 crosses, this value is changes to 0. Now what's the size of this? It is 8-bit. So how many clock pulses it will counts? That is 2 power 8, which is equal to 256. So listen carefully, friends. So after every 32 clock pulse, this TH1 value changes once. I repeat, for every 32 clock pulses, the content of TH1 changes. That means here we are using 2 power 5 clock pulses count, and here we are using 2 power 8 clock pulses count. That means totally 2 power 13 clock pulses. That means it is equal to 8196 clock pulses. 8196 because it is equal to 8K. It is equal to 8K. Why? Because 2 power 13 we can written as 2 power 10 into 2 power 3. 2 power 10 is nothing but 1024 into 2 power 3 is nothing but 8. If you do this multiplication, you may get a value 8196. So which is equal to 8K. That means in this mod 0 operation, your timer either T1 or T0 count the number of clock pulses are 8K clock pulses. That means it started counting from a 0. It was end set 8191 clock pulses. Once it will count these many number of clock pulses, then it will receive one more new clock pulse. What happens is both these TL as well as TH becomes the roles of its value from maximum to minimum. The time this timer 1 will generate overflow condition that is representing with the TF1, that instead TF1 becomes 1. So that means every 8196 clock pulses, for every 8196 clock pulses, this TF1 becomes 1. That means for every 8K clock pulses counting, your timer will generate overflow condition in a mode 0 operation. That was an important friends. I hope you understand the mode 0 operation of timers in 8051. And next, I was shifted to the next mode of operation, that is mode 1. Your mode 1 operation is same as mode 0 operation, but only the difference is in a mode 0 operation we are not considering all 8 bits of TL. So that's why there we are using only 5 bits. That's why mode 0 we can call as 13-bit timer / counter operation. But in a mode 1 we are considering all 8 bits of TL, so that mode 1 we can call as 16-bit timer / counter operation. See here friends, here TL1 contains 8 bits. So I was using all 8 bits. Again, if you go for previous logic, so this is my TL1 and this is my TH1. First TL1 get the clock pulses. Once this switch was closed, then this will send a clock pulse to this for every 2 power 8 clock pulses counting. Then again it will count another 2 power 8 clock pulses. The total number of clock pulses we count in this mode 1 operation is 2 power 8 into 2 power 8, which is equal to 2 power 16. It is equal to 65,536. That means for every 65,536 clock pulses, this timer will generate overflow condition. Overflow condition TF1. Here I was using timer 1. Alright. So in previous case, for every 8196 clock pulses, your timer will generate overflow condition. That was happened in case of mode 0. Now coming to mode 1, for every 65,536 clock pulses, the timer will generate an overflow condition in mode 1 operation. And remaining thing is same as previous case. So here also, this portion is a control logic circuit portion, and this is your timer stage, and this is your overflow flag condition. So all are same to the previous case. Next, I was shifted to another mode, that is mode 2 operation, When we are getting this mode 2 operation, M1 and M0 are set to 10 case. M1 and M0 set to 10 case, then your timer is operates in mode 2. What we can call this mode 2 is, mode 2 operation is also called auto reload timer mode of operation. Auto reload. That means, in this case, out of 2 bytes of a timer may not be participating in counting of clock pulses. Only one portion of your timer participating in counting of clock pulses and another one supplies initial value of a timer. So that's what here is. When the timer gets started, the THX, that means a timer higher byte value gets automatically loaded into TLS. That means against the initial value hold by higher order byte of a timer. Once you start the timer operation, what happens is a TH value just copied to lower byte of a timer, that was a TL, then a TL start counting of the input clock pulses. That means only TL, that means lower byte of a timer was a participating in counting of a clock pulses. Your TH, that is a higher byte of a timer, was not participating in counting of clock pulse. What a higher byte of a timer can do is, it simply supplies the initial value to timer lower byte. So that's the meaning of this. After the value of TL overflows from 0H FF to 00. That means TL, that means lower byte of a timer size is 8 bits. Once its content reaches to maximum value, that means 8 ones hexadecimal equivalent to FFH. The time it receives one more clock pulse, what happens is, its content is also from maximum to minimum. Minimum in the sense 8 zeros. 8 zeros hexadecimal equivalent is 00H. That time what happens is, the timer will produce overflow condition. At the same time, one more thing was happened, that is, TH value is again copied to TL. So see here friends, so automatically see here after the value of TLX overflows from FF to 00, TFX, that is a overflow flag of timer, gets set, and again the value from THX automatically loaded into TLX. That's why it is what we can call is auto reload mode of operation. So once a timer content rolls off its value from maximum to minimum, the time what happens is TFX automatically set, as well as the THX value is copied to TLX. Don't confuse friends, here this X represents, it may be timer 0 or it may be 1. So timer 0 or timer 1. So X is equal to either 0 or 1. So that you have to remember. So this is the structure friends. Again this portion is your control logic circuit portion, and now this is your timer. This is your timer. So that is TL1, TH1. So in between this, here it is very, very important. What this is, you remember friends, it is a tri-state buffer. What this is? A tri-state buffer. So this buffer supplies the value from TH1 to TL1 only when the third input must be enabled. So this is a controlling input. This controlling input, when it was received, it receives only when this TL1 produces overflow condition. That means this TL1 content changes from FFH to 00H. Note timer 1 overflow flag is set to 1. At the same time, the signal is act as an enable signal for this tri-state buffer. Then it will simply transfer its input value to output. That means TH value is transferred to TL value. So by using this, the number of clock pulses I can count to maximum is 256, because here only timer lower byte was participating in counting of clock pulses. I can see one more point here is this TF1 is active for every 256 clock pulses maximum. That means your initial value is 0. From that it is goes to FFH, so that it will count total 256 clock pulses. Otherwise, if you want to load appropriate value here, that many number of clock pulses it will count. So that is about auto reload up. Especially this is very helpful for me in order to do a particular operation number of times. For example, I would like to generate a square wave. Friends. Square wave is nothing but on period is equal to half period. In order to produce this duration of time, this timer has to count total 256 clock pulses. Let you can assume like that. So in order to produce this relay, this timer has to count total 256 clock pulses. So after finishing up 250 clock pulses, what happens is, again I need the same delay. That time again what I have to do is, initially I was loading this TH1 with a 00H. The same value is applied to TL1. It started counting from a 00H onwards. And it reaches to FFH. The time it receives one more clock pulse, then the content is rolls off. The time you may get the overflow condition. The same thing will be act as enable signal for this tri-state buffer. Then the value of TH is a transfer to TL. So whenever if you want to need this constant time delays or repeated operations with the help of this mode 2 operation. I hope you understand this mode 2 operation. And next, I was shifted to the last mode. The last mode is mode 3 operation. When we are operating our timer in mode 3, when our M1 and M0 both becomes 1-1. So if these are 2 are 1-1, then our timer is operating mode 3. But now this mode 3 operation, what we can call is two separate counters operation of timer 0 or a split timer operation of timer 0. That means in the mode 3, timer 1 is inoperative. I repeat, in mode 3, timer 1 is inoperative. Only timer 0 was operative. Why? Because here timer 0 is split into two 8-bit timers, and those two are operate independently and in parallel. So that here what I need is, for operation of each timer, I need a run bit to start a counting of a clock pulses, as well as to identify the overflow condition, we need an overflow flag. So that here what happens is, in your entire 8051 just you have only two timers. One is a T0 and the one is T1. For T0, we have a TR0, that was a timer run bit of timer 0. TF0, that is a timer 0 overflow flag. So now TR0 and TF0 used by one of your timer 0, either lower byte or higher byte. And timer 1 related run bit and the status flag overflow flag can be used by another portion. So that there is no run bit was available for timer 1 and there is no overflow flag is available for timer 1. So that in a mode 3, timer 1 is inoperative. Because the timer 1 related run bit and overflow flag both are used by timer 0. See here friends, that's what I am saying. The logic for mode 3 on timer 0 is TL0 uses timer 0 control bits and TH0 uses timer 1 control bits. So timer 0 related control bits in the sense TR0 and TF0. So see here, TR0 and TF0 both are used by TL0. And similarly for TH0, it will go and use TR1 and TF1. Basically these two are related to timer 1. Timer 1 run bit and timer 1 overflow flag. But now these two are used by timer 0 higher by TH0. So that there is no run bit and overflow flag is available for timer 1. So that timer 1 was inoperative. That's what I am saying. So next one is the structure. See here friends, the structure. So this is again your control logic circuit. So this is a TL0, timer 0 lower bytes. It will use timer 0 run bit as well as a timer 0 overflow flag for its operation. It is for one operation. And another operation I was using TH0 as a counter. Again it receives the clock pulses, right? But here it will use timer 1 run bit and timer 1 overflow flag for its operation, so that TH0 and TL0 operate in parallel for doing up two different operations simultaneously, but there is no run bit and overflow flag is available for timer 1 operation, so that in mode 3 timer 1 is inoperative. I hope you understand, friends, the timers modes of operation in 8051 microcontroller. Thank you for patient listening. We'll meet in next class.